All right. Oh shit. All right, guys. Welcome to the very first installation of Making Training Simple. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about high and low rep ranges and how they can affect our hypertrophy growth. I think the best place to start when explaining this is your muscle composition and how your muscle is made up. So when you look at your muscles, you're going to find fiber types. So you're going to find type 1 or type 2 fiber types. Your type 1 fiber types are going to be responsible for your slow twitch movements. So things that require endurance. So something like walking or standing all day. Your type 2 muscle fibers are responsible for your fast twitch movements. Your fast twitch movements are going to be your explosive movements. So something like pushing something really heavy. When you look at your muscles, majority of our muscle groups are going to be composed of a pretty even split of type 1 and type 2 fiber types. So they're either 50-50 or they're 45-55, 60-40, something very close to being exactly 50-50. There are some muscle groups that show a bias to type 1 or type 2, and I'll get into that in a second. So the first fiber type I'm going to talk about is going to be the type 1 muscle fiber. These type 1 muscle fibers, their purpose is for endurance. So something like standing and walking. So our calf is going to be primarily composed of type 1 fiber. The best approach to training these type 1 fibers is going to be higher reps and shorter rest periods. So when you're doing higher reps, you're building up lactate in your muscles, and this lactate is going to be the primary driving factor for growth in these type 1 fibers. The purpose of the shorter sets is to continue the buildup of lactate and prolong it across your set. Something about this type 1 muscle fiber is that they benefit from slower tempos and constant tension. So something you could incorporate is to not fully lock out on your movements, making sure you have constant tension on there, and also really controlling that eccentric movement, making sure you have a good tempo when you're going down on a movement. So if you have a bicep curl, just make sure that on you to get to the peak, on the way down, you're really controlling that. That's going to be great for your type 1 muscle fibers. A good thing about type 1 muscle fibers is that they recover a lot faster, so you could benefit from hitting these type 1 fibers more often throughout the week. Some muscle groups that show bias to type 1 muscle fibers are going to be like your calves, your spinal erectors, your adductors, and much more. I'll list some of them on the screen over here. But yeah, the next fiber type is your type 2 muscle fibers, which is responsible for your fast twitch explosive movements. The best way to train these is going to be mechanical tension. The best way to promote mechanical tension is going to be 1, progressive overload, 2, a deep stretch, and 3, a really explosive concentric. The biggest thing here is to make sure that you're progressively overloading your muscles, increasing the weight of your sets over time, and giving your muscles a reason to get stronger and bigger. Additionally, it's very important that when you're doing these sets, you're taking your sets close to, if not failure. Make sure that you're training with enough intensity to signal to your muscles that they need to get stronger. Another thing to know about type 2 muscle fibers is that they are very taxing to recover. So make sure you are prioritizing your recovery. Getting enough protein, getting enough sleep, and also being in a calorie surplus is going to guarantee that your muscles recover properly and that you can properly train for your next session. Now, unlike type 1 muscle fibers, there aren't many groups that show a strong dominance to type 2 muscle fibers. The two biggest ones that I saw are going to be your wrist extensors and your triceps. I might list some more here, but they're not really strong biases. I think they're around like 65, 35, somewhere around that, but close enough where they could also be considered a pretty even split. So what does this mean? High or low reps. I think that the best approach when trying to determine whether you do high or low reps is to just incorporate both. Whether it's having one day where you have high reps to target type 1 muscle fibers and having another day where you have low reps to target type 2 muscle fibers. This way you're ensuring that all muscle fibers in your muscle groups are hit. Or you can do something like what I've been doing on my upper days when I have 2 chest movements. I've been doing, on my chest press, I've been doing lower reps, so around 6 reps. And then on my chest fly movements, I've been doing higher reps, 12 to 15 reps, just to make sure that I'm hitting both type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers in my chest. Obviously, I take the same approach when I train my other muscle groups, such as like my back, my shoulders. But with muscle groups like my adductors and my calves, which show a strong dominance to type 1 muscle fibers, I pretty much train these in the higher rep ranges. I don't really go too low on the reps, because if it's 80% type 1 muscle fibers, what do I look like doing lower reps. So this doesn't apply to all your muscle groups, but it's important to understand that some muscle groups do respond better to high rep training and some do respond better to low rep training. Most of them will respond great to a mix of both. I think the best approach is just trying to incorporate them in a way that works for you, just to make sure that you're properly utilizing all fibers in your muscle. I hope you guys understood what I said. I hope that it was easy to understand, and I hope that you learned something. All right. Have a great day.